due to sickness, others conflict with schedules and so forth. So we have an excuse for Tamara Downey. We have an excuse for Leetta Sampson. We have an excuse for Anastasia Pittman, and there's one more, I believe. Can you remind me? And one more is we have an excuse for Nancy Fexico. So those are the ones that we are acknowledged to have received information on that they would not be here. So Council Secretary, when we call the meeting to order, just make that a special note, please. So at this time, well, I'll give you time there, Ms. Cootie. At this time, we call this General Council quarterly meeting, December 3rd of 2022, to order. And I ask the Secretary for roll call.
Here. Here.
Here. Anastasia Pittman. Terry Edwards.
Present.
Ida Gonzalez. Nancy Fixico. Tamara Downey. Leon Petit.
Here.
Joseph Billy.
Here.
Dolores Harjo. Here. Karen Fulbright. Ann Borba. Stephanie Lambert. Here. Dina Yeswith. Here. Lottie Cootie. Ella Coleman. Here. Shirley Watkins. Here. Tiffany Thomas. Wayne Shaw.
I wish to announce that Tiffany Thomas will not be here either, and that's excused from this council. She has announced it to our band. Thank you.
That would be noted, Mr. Shaw.
Catherine McCoy. Here. Charlie Hill.
Here.
Said Tiffany Cully. Danita Halata Harjo. Here. Willis Dethridge.
Here.
Desiree Emerton. Here. Marilyn Moore. Okay, I have 23 here present and 6 absent.
With a count of 23 present and 6 absent, I declare we have a quorum. Can you check your math one more time?
Okay.
What the request is on the count? Because with that, it would be one more council representative than we actually have.
So,
Did somebody else sneak in?
I have 22 present and 6 absent.
Okay. With a count of 22 present and 6 absent, I declare that we do have a quorum and have established that. Mr. Edwards, you always so graciously opening us up in prayer. Would you do that this morning as well? Amen. Amen. Okay, readings of minutes of the last meeting. We have two sets of minutes here, minutes of August 18th, 2022, minutes of October 15th, 2022. What is the desire of the council? Representative Dethridge.
I'd make a motion that we receive these two minutes, August 18th and October the 15th, as included in our packet.
Is that a motion to approve?
Yes, sir.
We have a motion approved. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
That second came from Representative Fulbright. Representative Hill. I'm sorry, Representative McCoy.
Used to be here.
Yes.
Chair, I just want to discuss the minutes from August 18th, 2022. It was on our meeting to approve back on October 15th, 2022. And at that time, it was brought to my attention by several members that our video from that council meeting did not reflect and match up with the minutes. That indeed was a 3-hour meeting, and the video was edited to be an hour and 5 minutes. So there was a portion cut out that started at 40.36. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I had asked the chair if we could ask the communications director on why that was done, and he was not present. I don't think he had to be at that meeting. So we moved it to this meeting where I could ask him that question. And also, I believe you and I discussed here at the council meeting, and you made it clear, from my understanding, that the executive office did not authorize an edit of that video. So I'm just bringing this issue back up for clarification purposes, and wanted to give the communications director an opportunity to answer that question, and you as well.
Clarification on that. We did not say executive office. We said the office of the chief. We will also look at this as the minutes did not change, and that's what the council addresses when it comes to this floor. The minutes was as what took place on August the 18th, 2022, although there was an edit to the film when the council discussed this during the meeting that it was discussed at, it was put back in full capacity. And we shared a little bit at that time what had happened. And obviously, it was something that, was thought to be needed to protect this council. But the minutes did not change. The minutes reflected as things did happen on August the 18th, 2022 in that particular council meeting. So with that being said, there's really no further discussion to be made. Those minutes, we had a motion and a second on the floor, and I just did clarify what it was. The office of the chief was not aware of it when the edit was made. It was also said in that meeting that assistant chief had given that discretion, and when either the chief or the assistant chief does something, they have the well-being of the nation in mind. And the council as well.
But it was not brought to our attention. Did I miss an email that you or Assistant Chief had authorized that edit?
I believe it was said in that meeting, if you go back and listen to the actual, the meeting we discussed, who had done that or who had given that permission.
Well, I would like to inquire of the AG then. Is that proper procedure that I guess the executive office is authorized to, at their discretion, cut out certain parts of the video? I mean, there were members watching it obviously live or later before it was edited. So we have had some of our membership watching the full-blown meeting, and then others saying, I don't know what you're talking about. The video has been cut down to an hour and 5 minutes.
The business of the Seminole Nation, as it was presented that day, all tribal resolutions, all reports, if there was ordinances on there as well, all those were taken care of as was on the agenda. And also the minutes are correct. So nothing changed as far as the minutes, and that's what the council approves when we come into session.
I understand I'm not saying the minutes are incorrect. I still would like the AG an opportunity to answer my inquiry.
It's true.
I've taken a look into this. There are no ordinances or resolutions that are in effect that regulate the live video or recording of the general council meetings. What I'm going to really boil this down to is going to be a perk of the communications office that this live video and recording is done for the benefit of the nation, so that citizens anywhere can watch live or watch the recording. If the general council wishes to regulate this, then introducing a bill or a resolution regulating the communications department regarding whether things can be edited, whether what approval process that would have to go through, and even maybe making it a requirement that this live video feed be done for future meetings.
Representative Shaw?
First off, we need to turn it up. I can't hardly hear y'all. Maybe I'm going deaf. I know that, and I don't have my hearing aid, but I can't hear y'all very good because it sounds like y'all are mumbling a little bit. Now, the other thing is, I disagree with our AG. Anytime anything is said on this council floor is a matter of record. And that doesn't give anybody to the right to take one word out. When I stand up and a lot of times I'll have to say, I want this as a point of record, it doesn't show up. And so, in our minutes should reflect everything that's said and done on this council floor. It makes it look like we as a council have something to hide. I don't care who erased what, who didn't put something down. It reflects on the dignity of this general council right here to stand up and say, hey, you're wrong. But we don't seem to have that. People are afraid to speak because, oh, this is the chief. Well, so, you put your pants on the same as I do. So we need to understand that I don't think we need to regulate what the communications say. We need to regulate what is put out here for the simple reason that anything that's put on that videotape or on our records by our council secretary should reflect exactly what it said, not, oh, well, we didn't like what she said or he said, because that does, like I said, reflects on the dignity of this general council. So therefore, I think that if you were going to do that, change anything at all, it should have came to this council to be regulated. Do y'all want this said? Do y'all want this done? But it didn't. That's general counsel. That is not executive. That is not AG. That is on your shoulders as a general counsel. So let's stand up and be general counsel and be somebody rather than pawns like we've been doing. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and second on the floor. Representative Fulbright, if it is germane to the discussion of the minutes of August 18th or October 15th, that's what it has to be germane to.
It wasn't a second ago, but
Yeah, we got a motion and a second to
yeah,
approve.
I mean, they were talking about other things other than the agenda, but we have in the past, especially the last 4 years of having stuff erased from these meetings. I'm the one that sponsored the resolution to get these meetings going online, live meetings. And the intent was not to erase, so the general public can see what's going on in these council meetings with their representatives and the actions of the representatives. Because there was a lot of questions out there, how they're voting and stuff. But the last 4 years, there was not one word said about things being deleted on these tapes. And that happened numerous times, especially when we had an incident with one of the council reps being removed in the manner that he was removed. And nobody spoke up. So all of a sudden, we want to speak up on this.
Let's get back to the original motion and second. I will say that executive office definitely takes that note, and I discussed it after that I found out that it was done, and we placed it back in full context. So the minutes, once again, was never changed on the August 18th, 2022 meeting. It was as it happened. So that's where we're at today. We got a motion and a second. Secretary, call the roll. Yeah, we're voting on the approval next.
Okay.
Well, six.
Oh, okay. Leetta Simpson. Anthony Conley.
Yes.
John Narcoby.
Yes.
Rena Tiger. Yes. Anastasia Pittman. Terry Edwards.
Yes.
Nancy Fixico. Ida Gonzalez.
Yes.
Tamara Downey. Leon Petit.
No.
Joseph Billy.
No.
Dolores Harjo.
No.
Karen Fulbright.
Yes.
Ann Borba.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Dina Yeslip.
Yes.
Lottie Cootie. Paula Coleman.
Yes.
Shirley Watkins.
Yes.
Wayne Shaw.
No.
Tiffany Thomas. Catherine McCoy.
No.
Charlie Hill.
No.
Tiffany Cully. Danita Harjo.
Yes.
Willis Dethridge. Desiree Emerton.
Yes.
Marilyn Moore. Okay. Okay. I have 14 yeses. If you give me I had my absent sheet, so
14 yes, how many no?
I had I had 9 noes. Um, I'm trying to find my roll call sheet, sorry. I apologize.
This is her first full session as the council secretary, so let's let her transition with patience, please. Thank you. Check that no again. I think it's off with the numbers unless someone came in since then.
Okay, I have 9 noes and 6 absences.
Okay. Read that back again. Council Secretary, the yeas and the nays.
I have 14 yeses and 9 noes.
The total should be adding up to 22 instead of 23, unless someone came in that I didn't recognize. There's 22 here. So the number's off somewhere there.
Okay.
If there's definitely 9 noes, then that would probably be 13 yeses.
I had 8 noes.
Or if that was definitely 14 yeses, that would have to be 8 noes.
Oh, here it is.
You want to listen? You want to do it again, council? For the
No, I
sake-
found it. I found it.
14 and 8. That sounds right. Yeah, it's. Can you declare that, Council Secretary, so I can confirm it?
Okay. $14 yeses, 8 noes.
Okay, correction, 14 yeses and 8 noes. I declare that the minutes of August 18th and October 15th of 2022 approved. Unfinished business, none at this time. Reports of committees. We also have the Princess Committee here. They also have a fundraiser going on. So if the council has no objection, perhaps the Princess Committee could come up first. If there's no objection, then Princess Committee, come forward. And the princesses, thank you, young ladies, for being here this morning. Can we get them a microphone, please? And if you would, just come up here to the front. Thank you. Adam, earlier, they were asking to turn up the sound system a little bit, both in the council seats and probably my mic a little bit, make it a little harder. There you go. See you.
Can you hear me? Good morning. How are you all? The sun is shining, your faces are smiling. Thank you. We, the Princess Committee, with our princesses this morning, these are our new 22-23 princes of Seminole Nation. So we'll give them a little time to introduce themselves and just bear with us.
Hello, my name is Olivia Harjaw. I am the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma. And I'm the Little Miss. Thank you.
Hinche Stone Girl, Aoni TB Child Chief Kiddos. Good morning, it's nice to see everyone here today. I am Aoni TB, I am 20 years old and I am a psychology major at Seminole State. I am also a caseworker for Indian Child Welfare with Seminole Nation. I am honored to be here and to see everyone's faces, and like mentioned as before, we have a fundraiser for stew and chili, so y'all come eat. Madam.
Hinche Sango, Amir Newsom, Church of Kiddos. Yajiaska Medo, Horogi Amalegados, Momin Mikasaki Amadoa, Ese Seminole Momin Navajo OS, Edmond, Oklahoma Legados. Hi everyone, my name is Amira Newsom. I'm your 2022-2023 Junior Miss. I am 15 years old and I am so glad to be here today, and I am so proud that I get to represent the tribe. Thank you, Medo.
Well, you know, we have a good start with the girls, and they're learning and they're trying, so we give them a big E for effort. And, you know, when they go places, they're learning of what their role is. And so, you know, I know that we haven't been here because of everything else, but we finally made it today to show our appreciation from you all as a tribe. And, you know, today we're going to do fundraisers, so come and eat with us, or we're delivering, I understand, so just bear with us. This is Regina.
I have nothing to say. But do come and eat with us. Thank y'all. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, Kathy.
Yes. May I?
Kathy, not the whole-
Lottie. I guess she's going by Catherine today. Anyways, ladies, would you tell me what band you're in, please?
I am your follow band.
I'm part of the Mikasaki band.
Olivia's band is Mikasiki also.
Thank you, princesses, and we do, I want to say that SNGA called in, the Chief Gaming Regulator. There's a lot of people sick throughout our nation at this time, and their representation called in last night and said that same thing. SNDOC actually is in a training with upper management, and they will not be here today as well. So we do have housing here. Who else do we have here from committees, commissions? We have BCR here. Raise your hands if you are a committee, commission, or a board, and you're present here today. Okay, we have S&GE here as well, as requested. Representative McCoy,
Let's start with SNGE, please.
S&GE.
Come on down.
Mr. Shepherd, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Billy Shepherd. I am part of the Ocheezy Band. I'm actually the assistant chief of the Ocheezy Band. I am an attorney, and I work up by Stillwater, north of there. So I haven't done a whole lot with my tribe, and some of that's due to my dad was adopted, and we grew up kind of estranged and afar from the Seminole Nation, but we did grow up with tribes, and so whenever I became an attorney and started working with tribes, I felt it was a pretty good thing to have to come back and try to help my tribe. So so far since I've been here, I've learned a lot. There's still a lot I need to learn. And I'm a 16th Seminole, so I can't serve in a lot of capacities on different commissions, committees, or government representation. So I think that's why they got me on the SNGE board. I do work with tribes, I do work with casinos, I work with casino projects, and other governmental builds, entities. A lot of the ARPA funding that's going on right now. There's a lot of RFP world and construction going on. So, and so I was appointed to the SNGE board by you fine folks. And since I've been attending the meetings, we have set one meeting a month. However, I'll tell you that I don't think one meeting is probably enough to do what that board needs to do. I can be truthful and tell you that since I've came on the board, that and working as an attorney, that the Title 8 that governs the SNGE board is very broad and general. There's not a lot of specifics to how we operate. So that, as an attorney, that's caused me some concern. So I know that we've started to try to address some of that. There's some other workings inside that I'm still trying to figure out why we're set the way we do. And I can tell you that, you know, working with tribes, working with casinos, and looking at the pay-ins from all the casinos from around the state, we should be paying in more, which means we should be making more. Our casinos should be doing better. And I don't know why. So the other board member that's on the board with me is Robin Miller. She is a very smart individual when it comes to casinos and operating casinos. And so I think, you know, we've asked a lot of questions as far as, you know, how things have been operated. And so I think we're asking the right questions and moving in the right direction. Right now, we're trying to figure out a strategy. I don't know the strategy for the casinos. I know there's been a lot of questions about the sign out in I-40. There's been questions about the Wawoka facility, the trading post, and so I've been to maybe 5 or 6 board meetings so far, but we're asking a lot of the right questions, and I think we're looking at putting together a strategy and a plan that ultimately I think we want to bring to you guys and present, because I don't know that, you know, me coming in and Robin coming in are going to tell you guys that we can do all of this and make the casinos and push them where they need to be without your help. I believe in transparency, and the tribe and the tribal members need to know what happens inside each of the committees and boards that go on for the tribe. So this is your first introduction to me, so I wanted to kind of just set some things straight with me and kind of let you know who I am and what I'm trying to do here. So with that said, I'm not for sure what you guys received as far as the packet from the SNG board. I believe it might be, pull this up real quick. Is it something that looks like this? Did it start out like this? Okay, so hopefully everybody's read through this. I've read through it too. I don't know there's a need to go through it with you, so what I'd like to do is maybe just open up some questions. I will tell you that there are a lot of things right now that are going on, that there are some confidentiality pieces going on. There's been some HR employment things going on. And so some things I think I probably can answer today. Some things I'll probably tell you I might not be able to answer today due to those issues. I will tell you also this, that I've spoke with Robin Miller. She wanted to be here today. And I believe it's our plan to try to have something put together, a strategic plan, positions, options for what would happen with the sign out in I-40, what we're kind of looking at for the Woka facility. And I believe we're trying to set something up that would be less public. And again, I just said I like transparency, but I believe some things need to be submitted outside of that until there's decisions that are made. So with that said, I'd like to open it up for questions. And I don't know everybody's name, so I guess Chief Johnson, if you want.
Representative McCoy, then Representative Deathridge.
Hi, Billy. Thank you for the introduction and for sharing a little bit about what's going on as you join the board. You had opened it up and touched on it. That sign is just a huge problem, and it's a sign that's been going on for years. I mean, I went to our band meeting on Thursday, drove by, all the lights are on, so it looks like it's open, but when you're driving, it's still just blacked out, and I really think we're losing business that way with not even, hey, stop by, we have gas, or we have an open casino, and we just don't have the lights on the outside just running. That's one of the items that you're discussing, but are we discussing, or you as a board, are you discussing replacing it, tearing it down, getting a smaller sign, or anything up there that lets people know we're in business, we want your business, anything?
I would answer that with all the above. Right now, the options to go back in and try to replace the electronic pieces to that to allow it to come back to life, be visible, be able to put different things up there, I will tell you the price is pretty high. And with that said, right, it's going to be high to fix. My issue is if we come in and we start, fixing things that are needed right now, just putting, and I would call it putting the Band-Aid on it without some kind of strategic plan. Do we need to go and put $400,000 into a sign if we're going to change up how we strategize, or if we're going to change up the construction build, or we're going to, what is our ultimate plan? I can take $400,000 and fix it and make everybody happy, but is that ultimately going to do what it needs to do for our casinos? I don't know. That's part of trying to put together some kind of a plan to it. Do we update and get that fixed and then continue on with everything there? Is there a way to think cheaper for a short period of time to kind of figure out a plan for that facility? Tearing it down, I tell you, is probably not a great option either, because it's probably more expensive to tear it down and haul it away than it would be to probably fix it, which again, you're looking at some big money. So we've got quotes to look at fixing it, but again, I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't looking for other options as well, as far as do we pay to fix it? Do we have vendors that would be willing to fix it for some promotional time on it? Are there other ways to do this without money coming out of the tribe's pocket, coming out of the casino's pocket? What is the ultimate goal with that facility? I would tell you, and no offense, but I walk into that place and I've been in a lot of casinos, and if that's our bread and butter casino on I-40, we've got to have a plan. And again, I'm not coming in here and knocking my tribe at all, but that place should look a lot different than it is. And that's the goal. I hope that we can do that and I can be a part of that. But I don't want to come in and just fix things and then in a year come back and say, hey, we put $1,000 into a sign and now we're going to change up and do something awesome and big there, but it's going to call for tearing down the sign. So
Is there something, like I see the billboards as I'm coming in from the Prague area, and those are really nice signs. Is that a temporary fix? Is there somehow you can just wrap something out there just that even says we're open? Just something as simple, temporary, while you continue to work on it.
We've looked at that too, as far as like, would it be better just to put something over that area to where it does show that we're open? It does show something. I mean, there's some easier temporary fixes to do. However, we've been putting together the quotes to fix it, and then now we're kind of looking at what other options can we present. And I think I could go through and tell you what we have right now. I probably wouldn't be giving you all the information because we don't have all of it. So I think what Rob and I are doing, we're trying to get enough information put together that to come back and call a meeting in January to where we can sit down with all of the general council representatives and let you guys ask all the questions and us present everything we have to you.
Okay. Sorry, Billy, I know Chair's getting ready to call me on time, but I do intend to bring you back up at our next quarterly, so I just want to give you a heads up on the progress of the sign. Another question I had was, I noticed that I saw a listing for Gaming Enterprise Board is entertaining an RFP for legal services. Is that in connection with, is Duvall and Associates not going to be representing SNGE anymore, and that's why you have bids out?
So I think what was brought up is that potentially there could be a conflict of interest at some point if the board ever took a position different than the tribe, that because they'd be representing both entities, that there could be a conflict. Right now, I don't believe there is a conflict, but I think it was just our position that instead of waiting for that to happen, just to kind of go ahead and move that direction. So.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Representative
Really
Gorsuch.
Two quick question, Mr. Shepherd. First question is the general manager position open at this present time?
I was driving down and I was asking myself if I knew that answer. It's my belief that I believe the position should be open, but I'm not for sure if it is or not. Okay. The other thing to that is the HR.
That's good enough.
Okay, all right.
Next question. You talked about your meetings. Is there a specific date that y'all have your meetings by code? Is there a date that, and can a council representative attend your meeting?
I believe the meeting should be open for a council representative to come. The code, again, is silent to a lot of those things. We hold our meetings, or we try to hold our meetings the third Monday of every month.
When?
The third Monday of every month at 11 a.m. Some of them have been by via Zoom, and then some of them have been in person. So, but it would be my position that those should be open. That's just how I believe they should be, though. So,
okay. Thanks, sir.
Representative Cootie, then Representative Watkins.
Yes. Is there any plans for the restaurant and the casino at I-40?
I would love for there to be plans for that. It's kind of weird for me that there's not that option to have it there. I don't know everything that's happened in the past with the casino. However, I intend to try to look at everything. I believe there should be an option to have something there. However, it's got to be something that's not costing the casino money, the tribe money. It's got to be an added value that's going to bring people in the door. So I would like to see something there, and I think that's probably what we're going to, as we move forward with the strategic plan of how this works, trying to position options for how that would work. Because you have to, obviously everybody's having staffing issues. That's not an excuse, but, how do you staff it? Then making sure you have, the right menu for it, what are the hours of operation. I would like to have it because I do think it's an amenity that helps bring people in and keep them in the casino.
That would be more revenue, is what I'm thinking. But
I would tell you dealing with casinos and restaurants, I don't know restaurants bring in a ton of revenue for a casino, but what they do is they keep people inside the casino. The longer you're inside a casino, the more likely you're going to spend some more money in a slot machine. And so that's the goal, is to get you in with marketing and then to keep you in with the amenities. So
the other question is that I asked last meeting about the road at Wewoka Trading Post.
Mm-hmm.
That road is terrible off Highway 56 on to the trailer. And there's supposed to be some kind of plan in place to repair that road. So
I will tell you this, as we're going through looking at that facility, because that is something we're looking at, some different options on how to move that forward. What would we do there? I'll look into that, because if that is an issue, then, that might be a deterrent for, hey, I'm not going to pull in because I don't want to get a flat tire from the pothole. But that might be something that we can work with the tribal transportation program and see if there's any funds to put towards that, or if there's a way to include some kind of, updated blacktop, in any kind of project moving forward with that facility. But I will make sure that we ask questions about that as we move forward with that facility.
Well, it was said that it's in plan to repair it, so you need to get together with that department, whoever it was, and
Okay.
see.
I will look into that. I'll make sure it's on with that, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for clarification on that last question, transportation is going to do a temporary fix to that. And then at the time, because it's on the tribal transportation plan, and it's a part of our inventory, obviously, then they would do a full cover. So there are, as Mr. Shepherd has explained, projections of being a meeting sometimes in January to give potential options. And those discussions has been underway between Ms. Miller and myself as well, as she updates on what she believes is the forward progress that needs to be done there. So Wewoka definitely, potentially I-40 as well. So we look forward to some, at least some potential options come January after the first of the year. But I believe they put out the bid already to go ahead and temporarily fix those roads until they do it permanently. Let's see, Representative Watkins, then Representative Shaw.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My question is, I've been hearing that Wewoka and River Mist did away with some promotions and took a lot of them to I-40. So can you elaborate on that?
I can't, because I don't know what promotions were there and what were changed. The other piece of the strategic plan is also a marketing plan. And at this time, we've asked questions about when we've asked this plan. And because of the changeover, obviously, the GM stepping down, we've asked these questions to see these marketing, the strategic plan for marketing, how are we going to use marketing dollars? And we haven't seen that yet. So I know we're still asking for that. That's something we want to see, because again, I don't know how you market or advertise if you don't have a plan of who you're going to go after, who are you trying to attract, what promotions are you going to put inside of a facility to bring people in. Are they actually bringing people in that they need to, or are they, a waste of money in that area? So I can't answer that question because I don't know that answer. But we are asking about with the current entities that are working with the casinos and marketing, trying to figure out what that plan is. I keep about a plan and a strategic plan. And again, we can go through and do all these little things there. But ultimately, I think to move the tribe forward with the casinos, we've got to come up with a plan for the structure and facilities, and also see the marketing plan. But I haven't seen that to this day. So we have requested it, and if we don't get it, we will make sure we find somebody that can give us one and help us with our marketing and bringing people into the casinos.
Representative Shaw, and we'll conclude with Representative Shaw for the sake of time.
Well, the question I have, Mr. Deserich here asked about the CEO that we had up there, and I think you answered it a minute ago by saying that he stepped down. Who is interim up there at this time?
Katie Merdium, I can't pronounce her last name. She's worked in the casino for a long time. I think it was Mr. Archer's recommendation that Katie come in and step into the interim role. And I can get her last name before I leave to you guys. But so far, in all the questions I've had and the way she's represented herself, she definitely understands the casino, the operations of the casino, and she's helped us get a lot of information too. So as an interim general manager, she's operating pretty well. However, I would prefer not to stay in the interim. I prefer that to be a shorter period of time and really have a direction of who we're going to get in there and what we're going to do. But so far, she's done a really good job of serving that interim position.
And you were talking about strategic plans.
Mm-hmm.
That was interim several years ago. I worked there some 15 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I was told that there's an interim plan in place then. Well, how come we can't put one plan in place and keep it there? Because we can plan all we want. It's a wish list. And so when are we going to start, how would you say it? Realizing these wishes that we've put out there. I know that we've gone through several, what do you call that position, advertising, and paid good money to people to do that, and it's not been done. And then each time we get one started, all of a sudden that one disappears, went over here somewhere else, but don't they leave something there for y'all to follow?
I can't answer that question. I wasn't here then. I don't know what happened then. I don't what happened up until the point I got here. I can only tell you what's happened since I've got here. And I can tell you that maybe it's just didn't have me. I'm a man of my word. I want to see things move forward. This is my tribe. And so I can only tell you what I'm going to do. I can't tell you what people before me did or why we can't keep general managers, but I'm going to figure out why and figure out a way to keep them. So that's what you guys, at least some of you guys voted me on the board to do. So, but again, I can't answer what happened before me because I wasn't here, but I am going to make sure that I can do everything I can to make changes. So while I'm here,
Like you said,
and if I don't, you can get rid of me. So
we'll see you at the next general quarter meeting. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd.
Thank you guys for having me.
We're moving off Mr. Shepherd at this time because of time, but I will clarify this. The executive office definitely is communicating, not dictating, not trying to overrule, but things must be done within the next 18 months within gaming, both at Wewoka and potentially at I-40. So those things are engaged. You will hear more of that in January, the options. So thank you, Mr. Shepherd.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, I saw Ms. Coleman's hand first and then Mr. Deatherage. Sir.
Thank you, Chair. At the next meeting, I would like to see the Seminole Nation Health Advisory Board members here so we could ask questions. And at some point, if his schedule allows, sometimes this year I would like to invite the new CEO of the Wewoka Service Unit to just come and introduce himself, and so we know who he is, what his vision is, and things of this nature. And also to maybe Miss Ellis of the BIA office could come by, so some of these new council members can see who she is, and maybe she can give us an update as well as to what the agency is doing and what's in the horizon. So, thank you.
Thank you. Representative Coleman, Representative Dethridge, and Representative Shaw.
Do we have a representative from Job Placement and Training here? I think I'd be.
Well, they're not a committee.
Is that Miss Wesley?
They're not a committee.
Sir?
They are not a committee. Reports and committees are here without going into, a long explanation why these departments got on the committee report.
The only reason I asked that, Miko, is I received a call from one of our band members who had recently had a visit with Miss Wesley, and the outcome was super, super productive for this tribal member. And I just wanted to say thank you publicly to Emma Wesley and the Job Placement Program for helping out this tribal member. That's all I want to say.
All of our programs try to strive to do that same thing. Sometimes we come up short as a nation. Most of the time it's due to funding, but we appreciate that compliment, and might be good for you to pass it on to her through email or such. Representative Shaw.
Let me start off. I've got four different things I want to talk about here. One of them happens to be what is a financial revenue board? Or who are they? I've never seen them, never heard of them, but I was off for 4 years, so I don't know, it might have came in while I was off.
Actually, as you begin the process of the annual budget, fiscal year budget, these are the revenue producing agencies and the heads of those agencies, BCR, SNGE, SNOC, and they comprise of the board to tell us what kind of revenues they are projecting for that incoming fiscal year, so that we can place the budget together. Financial Revenue Committee.
I'd like, if there's such a board, I'd like to get a report from them. We're not getting reports from these boards and stuff anymore like you used to.
They only meet, for a very short period of time prior to the budget preparation. And their report is actually certified by tribal law, what they're going to be able to contribute projectively to the comprehensive budget. But that's pretty much what that is.
Okay, now, the other thing that we've requested on this council several times is we needed a report on that bank investigation that this council approved our Attorney General to do, that we have not got a report on it. I'd like to get a report on that.
That report will be forthcoming at the next meeting.
Okay.
I shared with the Attorney General, she thought about bringing that report, and I said not before Christmas.
Okay,
So-
now, where are we on roads, tribal roads, and the HIP program? I've heard nobody's home being fixed, and this is just hearsay, is that, do we have a director over there?
Of course, we have a director over there, and he actually is here today. So what we have, with the HIP contribution from the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the additional allocation from the council is the rankings were done over all the applications, and they were put in out of county and in county because of the ARPA funds that can serve out of county. Actually, ARPA funds can serve, that in every program out of county. But he is here. He's not a committee, but if you want to do a brief update on it, Mike, since that's a great concern, you can come forward. Let us give you a mic so that everybody can hear it. We'll just bring it to you if you need it. See, Palmer, thanks.
Well, while he's getting that, the other question is, Could we today get some kind of an update where we're at on the Grisso?
I'll give you a briefing of where we're at.
Okay,
Representative
that's all I'm asking.
It's just going to be short because that's the decision at this point. Representative Watkins, Representative Petit, and I met, and we came up with what we felt like the tribe could afford to counteroffer. We did that, and that's where we're at right now. We're waiting for a response from Carter to see if that offer is accepted. Now, I know this has not been really discussed at length about the Grisso, but whatever it is that we do take for the Grisso, if it's less than what's owed, obviously you have to have some collateral to be able to secure the rest of what we do not sell it for. So that is also a concern to those who was designated as the negotiators as well. But that's where we're at on that.
Procurement has contracted with an individual to do the assessments and the cost analysis of these projects. I'm working with them. I'll be doing the reporting as to how these funds are expended. I have to make my first report to BIA by December 30th. I will also make a report on the monies that the council has allocated at the same time, so you will know what expenditures have been made. The council gave us $500,000 to do out-of-county projects. BIA gave us $500,000 to do in-county projects. So as far as where they're at on getting these ready to be advertised, Terry Jackson with procurement could fill you in on that. Yes.
I saw Representative Watkins and then Representative Hill.
Thanks, Mike, for attending today. So I got several questions for you. How many applicants are in county?
Pardon, I'm sorry, I think.
How many applicants are we looking at for in county?
What time frame is that what you're saying?
Now, how many applicants applied in county?
Oh, the number of applications we have?
In county.
Just a moment here, I'll get these.
And then I want to know out of county.
Put my name behind.
Okay.
We had 290 applications for out of county. We had 155 applications for in county.
Okay, the contractor that was hired by procurement, how long is that contracted?
What is that now? I'm having a hard time hearing.
How long is that contract with that contractor?
How long is the contract? I have no idea. Procurement, you would have to ask that question to procurement because they will be making the contracts.
Because what I wanted to know is, in that time frame, how long is that inspector got to fulfill to get all of these applicants inspected?
Well,
the applications.
The inspector should be a daily project for him till that project is completed.
Okay, because is he going to get all of these applications inspected before the work is going to be started?
That would be a question for procurement because they're the ones that are working with this contractor.
Next question. The phone that he uses to call these tribal members, does it have his personal phone listed when he calls them, or does it come up Seminole Nation? Because if it's his personal phone, maybe the applicant may not answer because they're thinking it's a scam call. So that's my question. Is it Seminole Nation coming up, or is it just a personal line that he's using?
Well, but my understanding is they've been calling his personal phone. And if they call me, then I refer them to procurement, and I assume procurement refers them to this inspector.
Okay. Does the inspector use his personal phone calling the applicant? Because that's maybe the problem of them calling. If it's coming up an odd number, they're not going to answer the phone.
Yes, I'm sure of that because I have had calls, people saying, hey, I got a call from this number and they left me a message. Do you know this person? And I'll say, yes, they're calling about working on your house. So a lot of people, including me, are a little bit leery of getting calls from numbers you've never heard of.
Exactly. And another thing, Mike, have y'all ever looked into what the Housing Authority has set up? They have a program called the Minor Repair Program, where they only offer so much for minors. And then they have a major repair that offer a major repair amount where we can get these dollars executed and out of there. Becky is over that program. Have y'all looked at that program and getting these dollars executed?
I'll answer that question. HIP wouldn't have anything to do with that, so we can't really answer that.
Well,
What this council could do, if they so desired, was to appropriate funds, which would be what they call to housing with the ARPA rules, if they wanted them to function more on that particular program.
Look into it? Okay, thank you.
No, it's allowed under ARPA if we wanted to do that, but it definitely is a council decision.
Yeah, but their minor repairs is, I looked at that program and it looks like a pretty good program. So I just know we are a year into this program and we've not executed any dollars and all we're doing is inspecting. So thank you, Mike, for coming today. Appreciate it.
Representative Wilkins, that's called subrecipient within the final rules in the Congressional Act. So definitely the council could do, because obviously they have a lot more staff to handle things there at housing. If the council so desired, a resolution could be presented to appropriate X amount of dollars for such things and use housing as a subrecipient. Becky's thrilled about the idea.
It looks like it.
But it could happen, but it would take council action to do that. It was Representative Hill, then Representative Dethridge. Is there somebody here from the Veterans Committee? From the committee itself? I don't see anyone, Representative Hill.
When you think about something like that, it's like they don't care. Okay? Okay, so let's scratch that off. Second, since I'm standing up, Light Horse Police Department.
Light Horse isn't a committee either.
But he's here, and that's the reason why I'm asking, why do we have so many people here that don't have committees, and they're listed here? If we want to correct this and go the right way, the way we're supposed to, we need to eliminate all these individuals that don't have committees and just put down committees only. But once we do that, what we're doing is hurting the council people of directors that have a department that don't have committees, and we want to find out something about it. So what do? Do we call? Do we write letters? Or do we go through the executive staff?
I think it's been very much made clear from the time we came into office that if you have certain types of inquiries, that you can inquiry through the executive office. We will meet with those directors. We will get your answers and in writing send that back to you from the director's point of view. There is a standing resolution that if there is nothing germane on an item on the agenda, then the directors don't need to be at the council meeting. That's still in place right now. That's a standing resolution.
So the questions that I have right now for the light horse pertains to our people. The council is not going to hear about it or anything. You can't make an exception, just like you did on.
We could, and we will. Light horse, come forward.
Morning, Chris.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing?
All right. My question is this pertaining to the tribe itself, Seminole Nation. And what it is a thing called SORNA, which I'm pretty sure you're aware of. But over half of the council representatives here and our visitors here don't know what SORNA means, S-O-R-N-A. That means Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. It's for those that have been incarcerated and locked up for has anything to do with sex offenders, okay? And we have quite a few of those out here in Seminole County and our neighboring counties and all that. My question is, do we have SORNA officers?
Yeah, the SORNA grant has expired.
That was down the road. I'm glad you answered
Oh, okay.
that.
Well, myself, Captain Talmassey, and then Investigator Ortman, we do the SORNA, the sex offender for the tribe until the SMART office gets the new grant up in early 2023, so we can apply.
Okay, so at present, we don't have any temporary SORNA officers or anything.
No, yes, we have sex offender. We still run a sex offender registry. We still implement SORNA guidelines. We don't have the funding.
Okay, we should have two assigned to that, right? One as a director and the other one as an officer.
Yes, when we have the funding, yes.
If we have the funding, the big question is if.
Yeah.
And also, not only that, since the grant has expired, what kind of special training do SORNA officers have?
Well, the investigator, he's a prior SORNA officer from Mahara. And we all went to sex offender trainings throughout our career. We're all familiar with SORNA, how it works.
Okay. What kind of database do you track sex offenders on?
What kind of database do you?
It's through the NCIC, National Crime Information Center.
Right. And there's a thing called database too, there, key source, etc., where you can track them. All right. How often are you required to do home visits?
It depends on the tier of the sex offender. You have tier 1.
Three tiers, right?
Yeah, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Right, exactly. Also, right now, as it stands right now, instead of focusing on Seminole tribal sex offenders, we're mainly open to any tribal people throughout the states, right? Besides Seminole, because of the McGirt case.
No, we're only within our reservation.
Okay, we're not outside of a period. We're not going to bring someone in and get the information from them or anything.
If they're absconding and they're not getting the letters and they're not coming to check in, no, yes, there will be a warrant out for their arrest.
So presently, we have a SORNA director and also an officer, and that's like additional duties.
Yeah, yes, the additional duties. We're all having to do additional duties.
Okay, last question, Chris. How many do you have on your staff, including yourself?
12.
That'd be it, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Representative Hill. And other committees, boards, commissions, can you raise your hand that are here today? I see housing, I see BCR, obviously Head Start, early childhood care. Here. Let's make the questions for Light Horse, because they're not a committee. We allowed it, and these kind of things can be answered through correspondence with Executive Representative Shaw.
I think this is our Seminole people. I know that since we moved our court system over to Wewoka, I've been getting a lot of calls and everything that the city of Wewoka and county have been going around taking tag numbers off of our tribal vehicles and kind of harassing. Has that come to your attention yet?
No, sir, that has not.
Well, that's the reason I'm bringing it forward, because we had profiling before with the city of Seminole, and I think this, maybe not this council, but some of them on this council were privy to that, and we pretty much put a stop to it. But now it's happening in Wewoka, and I asked why, and they told me, well, they got to move it, so they're harassing some people so they can stop them to get fines so they can move. Well, I don't care if they got to move or not, but I do not like our people profile, period. And I understand they're doing it to even the employees at our court system. So I'm bringing that to your attention, and I think that needs to go to the administrative attention, that maybe the city of Wewoka is not the best place for us to put all our beans, because we've always tried, the city of Wewoka has never done anything for the Seminole Nation. So we always we're trying to move away from it. Now we seem to be moving back. So I'm just bringing that as a point of information to you, and I'm asking, what are you, or can you do about it?
Yes, I'll get with the Wewoka Police Chief, Barkheimer, and address the issue and see, in fact, what's going on there. And if that's the case, that we will put a stop to it.
Appreciate it.
Judge Barnes, are you aware of any of this? Are you aware of any of this with the tribal courts? No? All right, thank you. But we will definitely check into it, and we'll check into it at the levels of government to government. The executive office will. Thank you. And let's have a committee, okay? Housing BCR's here.
Chair, I have my hand up. I'd like BCR to be on the floor.
Representative McCoy wants BCR.
While BCR is coming up, though, Chair, as you're reiterating, we should only be calling committees. What about you keep looking around the auditorium for these committees, and some of them aren't even here and represented. What are we going to do about it when we legitimately want to ask these committee questions? So what's the repercussion? Nothing. It's just we push it on to the next quarterly agenda to then tag team them with double the amount of questions. But I mean, why are these committees not showing up? At least one person off of the committee.
Well, I shared about some of the committees, boards, or commissions at the beginning of the council meeting, and I did not share that I sent a pretty strong message to those committees as well, that the quarterly meetings are mandated by the Constitution of the Seminole Nation. They come out 4 times a year. So if you're doing some planning that's around our quarterly meeting, choose another date. So I didn't want to go into all that. But,
I know, but thank you for sending that email, but you got to have some teeth in there, some repercussions when they still don't abide by your request.
We're going to try to fill some of those committees this afternoon if we possibly can.
Okay, BCR. My question is just real simple. You have I believe it's an ordinance coming up on 2022-10, expanding regulation fees and into these different like motorcycles, etc. But one of my band members asked, have you considered, or maybe it's already in there, which I don't think it is, mobile homes? Can you elaborate? Has that been brought to your attention, or have you researched it and it's just not doable? But that was a question that came up.
In 2017, the General Council passed our ordinance revision back then to add commercial vehicles, mobile homes, commercial trailers, and ATVs, and UTVs, and boats. We're amending this resolution to add charging excise tax on UTVs and ATVs, because right now it's a $10 flat fee, and we're still working to get the boats implemented. So yes, we do register mobile homes.
You do? Okay,
And
so.
tiny
then-
homes.
I'm sorry,
And
titles
Tiny homes.
and tiny homes. Okay, so another band member said that he was telling me you don't do that because he had to register it with the state before his home could even be moved here. So I don't know if he reached out to somebody in your office and they said, we don't do that, but he had to tag it with the state and then to be able to have it transported. So what would you say there? Is he just need to have called you, or I need to get more information on what happened?
Yes, he needed to have called us because we're a small office and we all know that we register mobile homes, and we have done that in the past.
Okay, that's the only questions I had. Thank you.
Chair.
Representative Watkins.
I know it's not a committee, but I had asked the executive office to ask for the environmental health director, Summer Jennings. Is she here?
She is not here. She asked to be excused. She asked to be excused for today,
Okay.
but if there is any questions, they can simply be forwarded to us or to her directly so that we can, and she's not necessarily the director, but she is providing oversight for that program at this time.
Okay, just to refer, any questions? It had to do with the tribal resolution on the ARPA funds. A lot of our members wanted to know, they have not been contacted by the director. They haven't had any calls or anything, so just relay that information. They would like to have feedback.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Also would like to ask the treasurer for the treasury report. I have some questions for the treasurer.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, you're going to stay up there.
Is it loud and clear? First question.
First question. Thank you, Mr. Larney, for the report that you gave us. The first report that you gave us, you changed the dates, and I appreciate that. But you took away the expenditures report, and I wish you would put that column back in there because it gave us a really good picture of these resolutions. So next time, I would appreciate if you put that expenditures column back in there. Because then, when you look at the overall picture of it, it tells us exactly where we're at on these resolutions of the ARPA funds. That way, we can tell where we're at the moment in time on the balance of these tribal resolutions. Because we may have to go back in there and to see where we're at on these dollar amounts.
And a more detailed report was provided by the controller, and it should be on both portals.
But for the general counsel, though, we need to know exactly where we're at also.
Yeah, that report currently is on the council portal from the controller versus from Treasury.
Well, what was provided to us for this meeting, that doesn't have the expenditures column. Is that correct, Mr. Larney? The report that you gave us?
From the Treasury, no, but from the controller, if you'd just take a look at the portal, it's on the portal. It may have been placed on there after the packets went out, but it's currently there.
Okay. And that was another issue too, is, would like to have everything ready when our packets are ready, because having to go through there and look at everything, every day and stuff, that seems to be a problem.
So hopefully we can have everything ready when our packets are ready.
Okay, noted.
I had also visited with Mr. Larney before the meeting and stuff. We were going by at the when the household assistance was approved back in September of 4th of 2021, we started out with 38 million, and it was the last quarter, which I wasn't able to attend. It jumped up to 39 million last quarter. So my question was, why did we jump from 38 million to 39 million on the appropriated dollars?
Okay, first of all, if the first report that I had submitted, it did state the 39 million on there. But then the reason the 39 million was put there because a lot of these resolutions are specifically set for distribution. There's no administrative costs ever allocated into there. So there are administrative costs assessed, that are involved in all these projects. So that's where that amount came in. And that can all be accounted for.
Okay. Several months ago, I received from the executive office, I think it was around June, it gave me a report from the ARPA department of how many members that hadn't applied. It was 1,457 over the age of 18, and 620 under the age of 18 hadn't applied, and 584 elders hadn't applied. So I would like to get on the next quarterly meeting or the next meeting an updated ARPA listing of how many of these hadn't applied. So, I think we need to know the reason or why hadn't they applied. We're over a year into this. So, I'd like to get an updated version of why they hadn't applied, or give me a new total. That's 6 months ago.
No one can be certain why somebody doesn't apply.
Well,
But what we can be certain of, are we doing enough to let people know that it's available?
yes,
And, a lot of people live outside of the exterior boundaries of the Seminole Reservation, and the word of mouth gets around. Most of those tribal members would obviously put in an application. There could be some on the outskirts, way off in some other state that may have not ever heard of it. And then some are discovering that, it's available, and it's obviously pleasant information for them to be. A matter of fact, I just had, contact with, somebody contacted me about they didn't apply for the 2,000, can they still apply? And because the tribal council did not put a deadline on that particular application, obviously it's extended until December of 24. So yes, they can apply now. So,
well, we're going into the second year, and I think we need to look at the balance of each one of these expenditures, the balance on each one of these. I'm a budget person, and so I'm going to be looking at the balance of each one of these resolutions and stuff. Maybe we should be looking at.
I believe with the resolutions that were passed, especially on the distributions, and you take a look at it, where we're at probably in 23 sometimes, what point, maybe the fall of 23, and see where we're at and what direction the council wants to go. So right now it's December of 24, or supposedly December of 24, but obviously we have to have things obligated by the end of December of 24.
Well, we don't want to look to the 11th hour and then try to scramble and see what we need to do.
We will not do that. We will not do that. We definitely will want to be able to appropriate the funds where they can be most utilized for the well-being of the Seminole Nation. Let's see, after Representative Watkins, was it Representative McCoy? According to Chief Palmer, it's Representative McCoy, and I see your hand as well, Representative Petit.
A question for either you or the treasurer. Last time I mentioned that I heard we're hosting intertribal, and you said you'd be working on that, and I was wondering if there was a number yet given of what you're looking at having to expense off of this, and do we have the money somewhere already?
We do have the funding in the area of contracts under stabilization to be able to fulfill our responsibilities of being a part of hosting the Intertribal Council. Normally, in any given fiscal year, there would be, public relations monies that would be appropriated, and at times other administrations have pulled from that to try to help, cover those expenses whenever the Seminole Nation hosts. The Seminole Nation over the last 4 years, for a big part of that particular term, we were not active in the Intertribal Council as this council realizes. And then I don't believe we hosted during that period of time. Obviously, our time, it goes in a rotation, and our time is coming up. So, we're going to be hosting in January. So,
Chair, I understand that, but do we have the money, and is any of that money ARPA money that will be used to host Intertribal?
it could be used, ARPA money under the stabilization funds. It definitely could. As I was visiting with the Assistant Secretary of Interior and others that deal with ARPA at the United States Treasury this past few days, they made it very clear that the stabilization funds under the revenue loss, it's very flexible and it's very wide to be able to utilize within the structure and needs of a tribal government. I saw Representative Petit's hand first.
Yes, this is addressed to the treasurer also. I appreciate your report, but to me, I'm a little concerned that we've only been able to accumulate around $22,000 in interest earned on those funds. And when you talk about $95 million, I had wondered, was this money should have been diversified so that it could be in more interest-bearing accounts until we used it? That was kind of one of my concerns there. Then the second question is to Ben, which I had brought up back when we were inaugurated back in September of 21. Is this money adequately secured and collateralized by the institution that it's invested in now, which I understand being Security State Bank? Is that the one we woke? Is that correct? Have they provided us letters of securing our collateral? Because the FDIC only, will protect us up to $250,000. And given these economic times that we're living in right now, we want to make sure that the Seminole Nation's money is actually, protected in the event one of these banks, which hopefully never goes under, but could, because we've not diversified those deposits.
Let me clarify your question here. Are you asking whether the funds are insured?
Yes.
Yes, I've already checked with the banks to make sure, because that was my first concern when I took this office, is that make sure that all the funds were properly protected, and they submit pledges to us saying that, yes, the money is fully insured. Anything over the $250,000 FDIC limit, then they make pledges of some of their assets or their stocks and bonds, whatever it may be, to back up our monies.
Is that letter available to the council members?
Pardon?
Is that letter available for the council members to view?
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, what they'll do is they submit a pledge saying this is how much money that they have to back our monies and that are located in the banks.
Bill, what he's asking, if you could take that letter and maybe place it on the council portal so that they can be assured that all of our funds are secured. I will say for the first 5 months after May, when we received $95 million, it was in one bank. When we came into office, then we knew that couldn't remain that way, and we began to diversify at that time. We will, Bill, get that letter from all the banks that we deal with ARPA funds, and we'll place that on the council portal.
Okay.
Yeah, get with Joni.
Well, primarily what I was going off of is this form that he sent, it just lists Security State Bank. And I know that the assistant chief had stated one time that y'all had taken attempts to diversify our investments. And that's why whenever I just saw this, I questioned whether or not that had actually taken place. But that's been my concern all along, because I've always wondered why. I know that, and now the interest rates are rising, and we could potentially make up to 3% on our monies now, where before it's probably 1% or less. But still, money's money. And now my other question would be this, I guess you've talked about the interest earned of 22,000 there. Where's that? Does that go into our general fund, or where's that money been placed?
Now, which way, what do you, would you,
Interest
repeat that question?
earned.
The interest accumulated. Where's
Interest,
that?
okay, right now, it is still sitting in the ARPA fund, and we are going to set up an account, another account to designate the amount of interest that was earned by the programs.
Okay.
So it'll be separated.
Okay, will it be placed in a CD, or will it just be placed into another interest-bearing account?
Well, that all
Like a Visa
depends.
account or something like
It all
that.
depends, because as far as the amount of money is concerned, you don't really want to put it in a CD, because you may have emergency needs for that fund, and they're going to penalize you if you put it in a CD and then have no withdrawal. So more likely it'll be an interest-bearing account.
Okay, so,
Any interest gained is unrestricted as well. It's unrestricted as far as the final rule is concerned.
okay, well, and that was my understanding under the final rule, that any interest earned is available to the nation to use. We could either contribute that money back into ARPA projects, or we can use it
Unrestricted,
within our own
anywhere you want
unrestricted
to.
funds.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Representative Shaw, did you need to speak?
Oh, if they're complete, if there's no more questions for, our treasurer,
We had Representative Emerson.
I see that, that's the reason, I didn't see her hand till just now, so if she's got questions for the, treasurer, then I'll yield the floor to her.
No, she doesn't have a question for the treasurer, but you had your hand up for something, though. Did you not? Yes, you have the floor.
We were talking about the ARPA. I have some members who are asking about the system. I have a lot of questions about people who put in their application through the computer and have not received anything. When they called up there, they couldn't receive status. Is there an issue we have with the computer? And if not, can we look into getting a different kind of system where we can check the status? Because communication is not as we think it should be. So we just wanted to see if there's any issues with anybody.
Will you clarify what you're talking about a computer?
I'm sorry, the ARPA applications for the $700. I mean, for the tribal members. I have.
Oh, you mean ordering additional computers
If
for the process of?
If, next time, if we have another issue like this, when I called up there, they said that they couldn't give status. They couldn't even see if an application was received. And I have a lot of people calling me, asking what can be done. Do they need to put in a paper copy, or what is the need that we need to make sure that these people are able to get their funds?
I would think, anytime, the process and it's taking place, they're doing quite a few. I had an update of close to 10,000, applications, which means a whole lot that's already in the processing area, which means a lot more tribal members than 10,000. So I think we're just now one day over 1 month being on the distribution, and it's unfortunate that many people gave wrong information, especially in the area of direct deposit. We have attempted to reach out to many of them, and if we're not able to contact them, when I say we, the ARPA team or accounting is not able to reach out to them and contact them, then they'll send a check to that address that they had placed there. So it is unfortunate, but that has happened, and countless of times. That has absolutely nothing to do with the process or any of the employees that work within the Seminole Nation. Now, is that what you were?
Yes, I was wanting to see if you guys happen to come across any issues, because the majority of people who have talked to me had done their application online, so I was asked to
Yeah,
ask the question.
let me give you an example. Someone does it the first or second day, and then someone does it the fifth or sixth day. Some think that it's instantaneously done. You have thousands of people that have submitted an application between the first day and the fourth or fifth day. But most of the applications came in, within that period, the first to the fourth day. So we're talking about thousands upon thousands of applications.
Madam.
Okay, you're welcome. Representative Cootie?
How many workers in that department?
And ARPA?
Uh-huh.
Well, the ARPA has just under, about around 10.
About 10?
Yeah, that receive the applications, verify the applications, and then they send them on to the accounting department. And we have the standard setup of accounting. We do have some ARPA that's doing some work there in accounting as well, so they have these splits accordingly.
Yeah. I'm having the same issue with people asking me why some of the people who applied online, they haven't heard anything and they can get an answer as to why, if their application was received or not. And the other thing is, I know that I applied online and I got it wasn't direct deposit, it was a check issued to me.
Did you upload a voided check and/or?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Whatever it said, we did it, and it came in a check form. So what's going on? And like she said.
Well, I can't say for that specific situation. I do know from the executive office that we addressed the issue with direct deposit and to try to contact the people. If the information was provided, there shouldn't have been a problem. It should have been direct deposit if you had your voided check there or the form that the banking institution that you do business with, one of those two things. There has been a lot of, on the writing of the numbers, of the routing and the accounting number, there's been a lot of mistakes, just one or two digits off. And unfortunately, hindsight, that was not a great, probably not a great idea to put that there to allow folks to make that kind of human error. But we're working through it. We're reaching out as best we can. I think probably we can make some adjustments on Social Security numbers and make that searchable. Is that correct, IT? Can we do that? Put that in the field? Yeah. And we may do that with that, and then that would make it searchable. They give us give them their Social Security number, then they can pull up that application.
Yeah, because the last one, the first one we got, when I called up there to see if this one person application was submitted, did they receive it? And I was told there was no way they could trace it. So that was a lot of the problem.
Well, probably in their system right now, it comes in as a number. So if they put that field in there of a Social Security where that box is, then it could possibly be pulled up fairly quickly then. So we'll see what we can do with that when we get back into the office on Monday. And
So what can I tell the people when they ask me, how come I haven't got my check yet when I applied first?
Tell them there's about 20,000 Seminoles, and we've only been distributing for 1 month.
All right, thank you.
That's a fact, that's just a fact. It's, logistically speaking. They have got a lot of checks out, though, payments out in 1 month period. They're working today as well. Representative Petit and Representative Watkins.
Hopefully this is simple, and I understand with technology and penmanships, I can understand their problems that they're having with some of these people getting the correct numbers into. But what I was wanting to ask, I've not had a chance to check, under our government stabilization funds that we were allowed, the finance committee indicated that we would be entitled to hire some temporary help under that money. Have we done, and enrollment had mentioned they were having trouble being overwhelmed with, applications and, people submitting those things. Have we hired any people to assist them
We,
temporarily?
we have.
Okay, so we're trying to kind of eliminate their workload down some.
We're trying to accommodate them through contracting,
Thank you.
but we are trying to accommodate the best that we can. There was a process in that. You go through that here, committee, with that particular program, and then there was a little communication there between that program and finance committee. So all these things don't necessarily always come out, you know, when maybe they say, oh, we needed help, but they didn't give it to us or whatever. Definitely help early on was, and my mic keeps going in and out. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. If this ARPA, is this still ARPA?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Representative Watkins, then I saw Representative Shaw and Representative Deathridge.
Okay, I'm going to piggyback off of what Lottie just got through saying and what you just got through saying about putting in the social security number. If they put in the social security number on IT, I just don't understand why the individual couldn't go in on the portal with their social security number and pull it up themselves to find out what the status is of their application, and they wouldn't bother the ARPA people.
No, we don't
Why
have,
not?
we don't have the system set up that way,
Or
where
couldn't
people
it
can
be?
control, you know, that application. Well, one thing, I think it would cost, when we were entertaining setting up a portal, it was going to cost us probably around $600,000 to $750,000, and then about $400,000 annually to just sustain it each and every year. So it wasn't feasible, at least for us as a Seminole Nation, to have something similar to what the Creeks have with the Camp House portal. Been nice.
So he could put in a social security deal, and so you still got to have an individual to plug it in, and they can still look it up.
Yeah, it should pop up with that,
Okay.
with that field.
All right, but I,
Representative Shaw?
Mr. Deathridge, did you have something on ARPA? Mine's not.
Not on ARPA. Go ahead, Representative Shaw. And-
My question is, we got OAP here. I missed that while ago on my notes, that, people are asking, and when I say people, I'm talking about elderlies are asking, why aren't we opening up our OAP center up there? Because the clinic's open, and you can go to any restaurant around here. A lot of our OAP, they go in there or older Americans go in there to visit and, what do you call it? Camaraderie. I guess you'd say kind of a community center, more or less, place to eat. And they're wondering, I've been asked more than one time, but why is it that we have not opened our OAP to the public like everybody else? You can go in a gaming center and nobody wears a mask in there. It's up to you if you want to wear a mask and go to OAP or anywhere else now. So why? That's the question. Why?
Well, the social and the behavioral health of all Americans, including all Seminoles, definitely is something that we need to address, and socialization is one of them. And definitely gathering to enjoy a meal is one of those as well. And we believe that the elders are a more susceptible and also a more vulnerable population, because COVID is not gone. The flu season, we're in the flu season, and also the respiratory illness that's starting to rise in numbers. We're taking a look at when we can do that and feel like we can do it safely where we won't prevent harm instead of a benefit. So we are seriously looking at that. You know,
Well, I'm looking at it.
I would probably look after the winter's over.
Our children going to school. We go to early childhood. They go to Head Start. Our schools are open. It's our choice whether we want to go to OAP or not. I think it should be made available to those people. I don't use OAP but every great once in a while. But the thing is, when I want to go in there and have a bologna sandwich, I'd like to have one. I'm sure, and if I want to go talk to, somebody in there, I want to sit and talk. But it's my choice whether I want to go or not go. It's also my choice whether I want to wear a mask or not wear a mask. I don't think that's up to me as a council representative to tell these people that, but we do control the door, the locks on that door, who comes in and comes out. If those employees are too timid, then maybe they need to wear a mask and stand in the back.
We definitely have obligation to protect. And this, I don't know if it's the battery or what in this mic, but it keeps going in and out. We definitely have an obligation to protect them. We don't have the right to tell people what to do or not to do, but to say that we have the right, if we are sick, to go and give that sickness to somebody else, and then that person succumbs because of that, that's our concern. Because I don't have to tell you. Yes, change that out. Thank you. How many elders we lost in the beginning of this, and to this day with the immunizations, perhaps we can reconsider that, but in the height of the flu season and the respiratory, I was going to suggest, what was the council desire to start requiring masks when we meet here, at least through the winter, because it's real out there and we can take it to other people, as we all know. Okay, let's see if we can't move on to another subject matter. We've already spoken. Representative McCoy, we've got about, matter of fact, within 5 minutes, we want to break. We're going to have the training up at the council house. And if you're in the gallery and you want to enjoy the meal that the princesses have as a fundraiser, the executive office is going to give you a voucher. You can go eat some stew and some chili and some cornbread at the North Community Center. They brought it here? Oh, I thought I started smelling something earlier. It's here, so you're free to eat and enjoy yourself as the council goes for the training. And the council house will only be for the council and the secretary and the attorney general staff and Chief Palmer and myself. So it's going to be a great training. We're glad to be able to introduce a new tribal council portal that's going to be a lot more easier to use and quicker. So let's take a couple of comments and then let's kind of keep this thing on schedule if we can.
Okay.
It was Representative Deathridge that was next.
I appreciate that,
Yes.
Nico. I honestly thought that you were purposely ignoring my hand raise for the 15th time.
Today?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm very,
And I would say, I was not
Okay.
purposely ignoring you.
that's okay. I can tell that we're almost finished with the reports, but I want to say this, that we give ample time. Our general counsel secretary, she puts a post date. All of the reports need to be turned in by November the 18th this time, or somewhere right along that line. That's 45 days from September the 30th to November the 15th or whatever. It's all of October, half of November. Anybody that can't put a report together in 45 days doesn't need to work for the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma. I'm just saying that. And the directors that are not here today, they don't deserve to work here as well. So it is a concern of ours as a general counsel that we don't have those people here. So
Now, I'm going to say something to you. I've already mentioned it once, that there's a standing resolution. Unless there's an item that pertains to that certain director, they, by that resolution passed by the Seminole Nation General Council, does not have to be. You can recall that resolution if you want, but it was comp time, I think, was the concern when it passed and all that kind of thing, in the last administration. But that's a standing resolution. Do you, Mr. Deathridge, think you are under a council-approved standing resolution? I'll send that resolution to you.
send that resolution and I'll write up one and submit it to the AG to disregard that one because we need the people here.
Why don't you write your letters and let us correspond with you like real business people
Because
do?
communication is the most important thing, whether it's in business, whether it's in your family's life, or any place else. Communication is important, and we are not getting communication from your office or anybody else. And I don't want our general counsel secretary to get run ragged over somebody that's laziness or tardiness submitting a piece of paper that should have been submitted 45 days before. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
Well, as long as they're not made a spectacle when they come here, and you stay connected with that program and what the report is. And don't go chasing rabbits like we've been known to do over the course of decades. Representative Cootie and then Representative McCoy.
Chief, what Wayne was talking about, our feeding program, what they're saying is they're out in the public anyway, so there are machines that you can put out there. When you walk in, it measures your temperature, and they're saying if we have fever, we don't go in, or whatever, if we have to wear a mask, we can wear a mask, or, whatever, but and a lot of them live alone, and this is an opportunity for them to come to the hot meals and, associate with the others and catch up on what's been going on and everything. So they've been asking me, why have we not? It's been 2 years. And I think that if we have a director that's concerned about our people, they would try to find a way or whatever to take care of our people. And I worked with a program once before, and there are things that you can do to let those elders come to the program and enjoy themselves. So I've been asked about that too and everything. So I'm thinking we need to do something pretty quick, not later. Thank you.
Representative McCoy.
I too had elder band members at my meeting and asked the same thing that Representative Shaw did. When was it going to open up? They really want that fellowship. They want to meet with others and just be outside for a change. And I think it's kind of up to them. If they want to come out and put themselves at that, then that's their choice. I also would concur with Representative Dethridge. The report's ridiculous. It's not the General Counsel Secretary's job to be hounding people for it. I know that she did request that they send them in, but it's not her job. It needs to be a higher up that enforces those reports to be done so that we can review them, and if indeed we have questions, that they're here. And my last question is, we having a Christmas, dinner? Is that open to the public or like our tribal members? And if so, where is that being held?
It's held at the Wewoka Civic Center on December 8th, 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
So we're opening it up to our tribal members. How is that different than opening up the OAP for them to
Well,
eat together?
that's not a comparison there of apples to apples and oranges to oranges, but it's an idea, it's a thought. Okay, let's go to training. You folks enjoy yourself as well, and make sure if you got that little voucher ready, make sure that we have it so that we have a record of what we can what we'll need to pay. Okay. Yeah. If we can move to the council house, take your laptops with you, and we'll do the introduction of the new council portal. And lunch will be served as well there.